Hello there. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Agostino Zinga show with your host, Agostino Zinga, and this is episode number 981. This is episode number 981 of the Agostino Zinga show, coming at you live and direct from an undisclosed location somewhere within the depths of East London. How you doing? How you feeling, ladies and gentlemen? How you doing? How you feeling? Great, amazing, good to hear. Great, amazing, good to hear. How am I? Feeling not too bad, cannot complain. Had a really big and heavy and late training session yesterday in the gym. Although I like going to the gym really late, I do understand why people don't go to the gym really late, because god damn, it was late and I was tired and I had to come back home and stream for a little bit before I slept, before work in the morning. Then I got up and I streamed some more, so it was kind of difficult, to balance everything. But it was nice to be in the gym where it was relatively empty. But going that late can sometimes be a bit of a mind twister, mind twister. But I did have a cool little moment, actually, a nice little moment, which I was like, oh, you know what? Helping people is nice, isn't it? It's like a little tiny thing. I was coming out of the gym, and this mother and daughter, which I assumed they were mother and daughter. I think they were anyway. Mother and daughter. They were walking by and they looked like they were looking for something. And the gym that I go to is full of some roughnecks. So it's always interesting when people do come and kind of speak to you and ask you for help, because they have to make the internal calculation in terms of like who is less of a roughneck, They have to make an internal calculation of like who's less of a roughneck, who can I ask for help, who isn't gonna maybe steal my handbag for lack of a better thing. So this mother and daughter decided I was the person they needed help from. And I obviously dutifully obliged. But yeah, they needed to find a McDonald's in my area, which is a bit like hard to get to after like a certain time, because there's, whatever, you have to kind of go somewhere. So I kind of kindly directed them towards there. And instead of just telling them where to go, I was like, you know what? Let me just grab my bike and like accompany these ladies at least, half the way there, and then kind of show them exactly, because where I took them was, you could just basically see it down the road. But where they were, or where they met me at the fucking, or where we crossed paths at the gym, it was a bit further from where it was. And I'm not going to lie, man, I felt good. I felt really flipping good giving people directions and helping people. And it made me think, oh shit, helping people in general is kind of fun. There's a lot of like, you get a lot from it. You kind of feel good about doing it. Doing a little bit of a good deed. And they clearly were really looking forward to McDonald's. I think they went to go see Ollie Murs, I think, right? They went to see an Ollie Murs live show. And then I kind of kindly directed them to the thing. So they probably were really starving after all of that jumping and hollering. And plus, the UK, if you don't know, I'm sure some of you already know, but if you don't know, maybe apart from Brazil, the UK might have the best live music crowd of any crowd in the world, in my personal opinion. I think the live music crowd in England is probably the best. We sing along to everything. We know all the words. We're super enthusiastic. Like, we go for it. So they were probably really going for that Ollie Murs show, so they really met McDonald's. So I was happy to direct them to our local McDonald's, and I hope they had a flipping blast. What else happened? That's about it, really, for the most part. It's been cold, not really been on anything. I'm actually thinking about going out this weekend. I was actually thinking about going this weekend, but I've got this marathon stream to do. And I know if I go out on the weekend, I won't be able to do the marathon. I'll be fucking groggy and shit. So I might just leave it. But I was thinking of going out this weekend. But I'll see what I do. I'll see what it's feeling like. I'll see what the vibe is and kind of go from there. But it's been pretty chill. I'm not going to lie. I kind of can't lie, man. I kind of do enjoy when it's colder. There's less distractions. It feels like everybody's kind of like, even the most psycho of people, I feel like they're turning it down a bit, I feel like they're turning it down a bit. So I think that's good to see. I think that's really, really good to see. But anyway, we got a jam-packed show today. Jam-packed show. I don't want to waste any more of your time. So let's just jump straight into it. Let's just jump right on straight into it. First things first, I want to talk about. Is this post that went somewhat viral on my side of social media. At the last time I'm talking, it's got 32.4 million views. 1.9 thousand fucking retweets or reposts, and 11,000 likes. So it's a very viral post, and it's from a person called Cameron, who is the co-founder of a company called Whop, or Whop, WHOP. What does actually Whop do? Let me find out. What does WHOP do? What do? They do where you buy, build, and sell things on the internet. I'm guessing it's some sort of, what is it? What do they do here? What do they do on Whop? New mission, get rich. Let's see. What do they do? Let's play this little clip that they got. They're pinned on their profile.
Our parents told us to get real jobs, get off our phones, go to college. I took a completely different route. There's something different about kids who make money online.
This is pretty cool. Okay, so I think if I'm not mistaken, from what I can guess, they either sell courses, they're either like a middle person for drop shipping. It's something along those kind of lines. So this is a company called WHOP, Whop. And they've made, which is a pretty cool advert, I'm not gonna lie. They've made a GTA styled game trailer thing where it kind of shows what they kind of do and what they get up to. It's a really cool idea for an advert, I'm not gonna lie. I quite like this.
They don't give a fuck.
Been taking a foot?
Sounds like heaven, bro.
There's a huge influx in kids dropping out of school.
I just made 50 racks.
I studied, bro.
Dude, we gotta grow faster. Just use Whop, bro.
Yo, we're printing. That's super trim.
Here in my garage.
College enrollment numbers are on the decline.
When you start making money online, everything changes. And once you taste that freedom, there's no going back.
So anyway, it's a company called Whoop or Whop. I still don't have an idea what they do, so I'm going to click their website. This is like all companies, right? They're never really transparent about what they actually do. Let's see if they've got an about section. I just want to know what they do. Can you just give me a brief synopsis of what you guys do? Whop is on a mission to deliver everyone a sustainable income. Okay. What does the company Whop do? Hopefully AI can just tell us in simple terms. Okay, there we go. Whop is a social commerce marketplace for creators and entrepreneurs to sell digital products, services, and membership, acting like an Etsy for software, where users can create online store to sell courses, communities, Discord, Telegram. People sell their Discord. Tools, more handling, payments, customer management, delivery, all in one place, simplifying monetization for digital creators. What Whop offers sellers all in one platform, digital products, membership communities, SaaS tools, monetization. What Whop offers buyers, discovery, easy access, key concept, a Whop, capital W, the platform itself. Okay, cool. There, we got it, right? Anyway, you got the gist of it. Anyway, long story less long, the founder, one of the co-founders of Whop, posted this the other day. They said 9:15 Monday night, 9:15 p.m. Monday night, not a single engineer has left. The only thing to do in life is build. So he takes a picture of his startup office. I'm assuming it's somewhere in New York, maybe it's somewhere in LA, but I'm gonna guess somewhere in New York, judging by the architecture and shit. And it's a picture of his developers, a section of his office where all these developers are either on standing desk coding and building for the app, or they're sitting down and they're just coding and whatever else it may be. And when I saw this picture, it reminded me a lot of my career and the things that I've seen in the workplaces that I've been at. I had a similar type of thing in a couple of startups where it wasn't encouraged to stay overtime. It wasn't encouraged to stay late, but everyone did it. So it wasn't explicitly said, hey, you should stay after 6. You should stay after 5. But everyone stayed after 6, after 5. You know, no one left early. And some people came early as well, which is fucking crazy, right? Coming to work at like 8 in the morning, 7 in the morning, and just staying down to another 7, like absolutely wild. But at that time, specifically Master, that one place I was in, it was sort of like a mission that I think we all believed in. You kind of have to work in a company where you believe in the mission. So at that time, when I worked in Mustard, when I was a co-producer of the online streetwear program that Virgil Abloh was headed, RIP to him, which is how I met Virgil Abloh and stuff. And obviously that iconic video of the anime brand that he worked with, its name escapes me now, but you know what I mean, right? When I was working there, I kind of believed in the product. I believed in the software. I believed in the service. I believed in the dream. I believed in what they were trying to do, which is essentially trying to allow people who don't live in, like, you know, the hottest cities in the world access to some of the best, you know, creators, best teachers, best leaders, best people that they can learn from in fashion. So to kind of democratize fashion and allow people who don't live in places like Paris, who don't live in places like London or New York, to kind of access to the same things and to learn and to hopefully build their own brand. So I think largely everybody in that office, everybody in that company that worked at Master believed in that, because we had other courses, we had hair courses, we had makeup courses with a similar sort of ethos. So I think it works in that regard. And if I'm remembering correctly, at that time too, we were all probably a similar age. We were all probably a similar age at that time. We're all probably a similar age. So, or maybe not similar age. We were probably all at the same part of our careers. Let me say that, yeah. That might be a better way to say it. Where like maybe that was like your first proper job, right? Where you got given a laptop, where you got given a lot more authority in terms of like decision making, you know, where the stuff that you did was actionable. Like you could tell, okay, cool. If I put this amount of work in, I see the results of it type of thing. Where you had direct access to the co-founders and whatever else it may be, like all of that kind of thing. So I think because we all believed in the mission, because we were all relatively the same age ranges, maybe the same experiences, it was easy for us to all knuckle down and do stuff like this and stay in the office until now. I remember working at Mastered on that streetwear course. You know, I helped put the whole fucking program together, book most of the artists, organize all the panel discussions in fucking Berlin, in fucking Paris and shit, in London, all this hard work, right? Organizing the shoots, so who's going to talk to Virgil, who's going to do this, who's going to do that, securing deals with Izettle. I did a press thing because our media partner at the time was High Snobiety, and we got the brands featured on there, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I would routinely stay in the office until 8, routinely 8 or 9. And again, it was easier because we were all kind of the same age, we all kind of had the same experience, we all kind of believed in the mission, and to be really honest, the office space wasn't too far from where I live. The first office that Mastered had was in a place called Old Street, and that's kind of, in the UK, they refer to that as like a Silicon roundabout. That's our Silicon Valley, quote unquote. A lot of like startups are usually in that area from all types of industries and shit, but usually startups, fintech, whatever, they're all in that area. And that area is like a 30-40 minute ride bike from home, maybe 30 minutes on transport. And then when it moved to a second location, which is around the Bethnal Green area, it was even closer to where I lived. So I didn't really have trouble going there. So I think that made it a lot easier. But this didn't last long. This did not last long. Because the moment I started to get fed up about staying after 8, staying past 6, staying past 5, funnily enough, wasn't in the office. It was when I went abroad. So with that work, with that job I was doing at Master, being a producer for the fucking streetwear course, I was required to travel a lot. And at that time as well, I kind of wanted a cool job. I was looking at all the guys that I knew who worked at places like Nike, who worked at places like Wyden Kennedy, who worked at other agencies, who worked at other showrooms, and I kind of wanted or worked at a magazine. They got to go to fashion shows, they got to go to all these fucking events and stuff, design shows and whatnot, and travel around the world, right? I find that cool. That image of the guy or girl on Instagram rolling their fucking Rimowa suitcase, Rimowa fucking carry-on luggage through the airport, right? I kind of want to be that person, taking a picture of your luggage with your feet crossed on the fucking luggage, you know, with your feet laying or resting on the luggage cross-legged and shit. But the reality of that is really, really not what you see on Instagram. Because I was required to travel. I was required to go to places like New York. I think in 1 year, I might have been to New York like 4 times or something stupid. I went to Berlin a bunch of times like crazy. I was required to travel like crazy, but then you're required to work at the same time. So it's not really a holiday. And then when you get back, you're required to work either the same day or the next day. So I remember this one time I went to New York for something. I forgot what we went for. We went to go shoot. We went to go shoot some content. We went to New York to go shoot some content. I think we met up with Brendan Babsian from Noah. Unfortunately, he didn't end up signing up because I spoke to him through the email about getting him on board to be one of the lecturers for the streetwear program at that time, but he didn't want to do it. He was just about to relaunch Noah, I guess, or it was already launched if I'm not mistaken, and he already has a bit of a friction when it comes to be categorized as fucking streetwear anyway. He doesn't really like it. Plus, I think he just wanted to do his own thing, but a really nice guy. We went to Noah's store. We spoke to the guys there, sales assistants, super, super cool. They politely declined, but we filmed some other stuff. And then I think the next day, if I'm not mistaken, like, so, you know, however long the flight was from New York to London, I'm saying it's anywhere, I think it's like 8 hours or something, right? I think I flew out from like JFK. I fly back to London, get back to Heathrow, and then I think I get back, I don't know, 8 p.m. or something, no, 8 p.m. or whatever. By the time I come back home, it's like 9, 11, or 11 maybe that. And then the next day I'm required to be back at work. That's when I stopped really liking the whole, like, you know, working all around the clock for a company. I was like, Jesus Christ, man, this is not fun. How am I traveling 8 hours to this place, dealing with the whole airport stuff, going to meetings, working, and then coming back. And the next, I don't even get like a half a day. I'm not saying the full day I have to get off, but at least let me come in at lunchtime. Nah, come in at 9. And then, of course, you're expected to stay again until 8. That's when it started to crack. But I think nowadays, number one, I wouldn't have the energy to do this. I wouldn't have the energy to do it. I don't really think I'd care enough for whatever company. Like, it had to be a company that I really aligned with and I believed in their mission and blah, 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 blah. And even if I got something like equity, I don't think it would really make a difference. I really don't think so. I don't think a salary would make this like anybody that thinks a salary would make working until 9:15 different hasn't really tasted it yet, hasn't had it yet. A good salary doesn't make this work. Eventually you will crack. Even if they paid you way over what your usual salary is on that role, eventually you would crack, because not having a good work-life balance doesn't really last that long. You can do it for a short period, like when you're building, like these guys. Maybe they're just starting their company. Maybe it's not that, it's not been around for long. I don't know how long Whoop. When was Whoop founded? Does it say here? When was Whoop founded? Because 2012. Okay, cool. Not that Whoop. I mean Whop. 2021. So they're still in the early kind of stages. Maybe then in the early stages you can kind of do that. But still, it'll run its course. But it's really sad that this stuff is lionized and celebrated anyway. This idea of like working yourself to this extent. There's nothing really worth it. Like imagine, at their core, this company sells courses. I don't really know much about them, but at their core, they sell courses. And they've got people working until 9:15. 10 p.m. and shit, sleeping in there. I think he mentioned actually in the comments, somebody said something like, I think he mentioned like, I'm gonna have beds in there as well. Yeah, right. What's that? What time do you get in? The co-founder says 8 to 11 a.m. based on what time I go to bed. I usually go to bed between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. Another person says a sleeping bag and some takeout would really help push the long hours there. Smiling. The founder replies, Cameron, we have $25 in free Uber Eats credit daily that gets unlocked if you're in the office after 8 p.m. Also building bunk beds in the office right now. Jesus Christ, man. This is not good work conditions, isn't it? You have free $25 free Uber credits, which isn't a lot, I don't think, in New York. I don't think $25 goes that far in terms of food. So you still have to pay out of pocket anyway. And then they have bunk beds that you can sleep in. Sleep at work to then work back up and go to work again. I couldn't imagine anything more horrifying. Like another person, I love this vibe. I would have done the same pre-kids. Best way to build friendships and team spirit in the entire world. Build out bunk beds, make sure people don't burn out, keep treating all of them like MVPs. Surely building a bunk bed, surely that's an oxymoron, no? Surely that sentence is an oxymoron. Build bunk beds, make sure people don't burn out. Surely you don't build the bunks beds. Let people go home at a reasonable time. Let them get rest. Let them be in their own humble abode. Put their feet up properly and relax. And then come back in the morning and go again. Building bunk beds. Like, huh? So yeah, I don't know. I know, but this ain't the flex you think it is. I don't know. It seems like a weird thing people are celebrating. Let's read some of the other comments from other people. View the quotes. What do they say? Someone posts this, a picture of themselves holding a sign that says, in 20 years, only people who will remember you worked here will be your kids. Jesus, bleak but true. Another person says, the European mind. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe I'm too European for that working culture. Maybe that's why it doesn't really work in the UK that often, or in Europe in general. You don't really see a lot of startups doing that sort of thing. Everyone goes home at 6. Everyone goes home at 6, maybe 7 latest, but you're not doing this whole like burning the midnight oil or burning the candle at both ends. You don't do that. But yeah, iconic picture of Anthony Bourdain sitting outside a Parisian cafe, I'm assuming, with his coffee and a baguette and a cigarette. This is a really iconic picture, by the way. Super, super iconic picture. Like, you can just, you know what I mean? Life doesn't get better than this, by the way. Life really doesn't get better than this. Sitting outside a cafe somewhere in mainland Europe and just people watching with a coffee, maybe with some friends. That's it. You don't need much. That one time I went to Paris actually where I actually enjoyed myself because I've been a couple of times beforehand. I didn't really like it. And then Paris clicked for me because guess what? I met people there, which is fucking annoying. Everyone that says that used to piss me off, right? They'd be like, oh yeah, Paris is amazing. You just got to know people. You gotta meet a local. Da, 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 da. I was like, fuck off, man. Like, whatever. You're talking rubbish. But I went a couple of times, hated it. And then one time I went and I met some people because I went there during Fashion Week to see the Virgil show. I instantly loved the city. I instantly fell in love with the city and walking around the river, walking around in general, getting lost and finding random fucking wine bars to go have wine in. This one place I found, by the way, I had probably the best glass of wine I've ever had. And I don't really drink red wine at all. I had the best, it literally tasted like Ribena. I swear to God, but it got me licked. And he only had one glass left, basically. So he gave me the last glass. I tried to get more of it. He said, no, it's finished. Like, it was just, you know what I mean? It was just that thing I just had in the moment. It was so tasty, man. I was just sitting there sipping this shit, drinking it like a Ribena too, by the way. The French people looking at me like I was some uncouth barbarian. But yeah, the European mind, the European lifestyle is very, very different to what you guys do there in North America. But then again, to be fair to you guys, to be fair to the North Americans, we get to do this, right? We get to do this, but you guys also get to make a lot of money. You know, you guys are real hustlers. North American people are real hustlers. That they know how to work. They know how to fucking work. From when they're having 2 jobs at the same time to pay the bills, when they've got 1 job, you don't have that many vacation days. Like they know how to work. Let's be fair. Yes, there's a certain part of the population that is very work shy, but the ones who aren't work shy, they don't play around. So, yeah. What's another person say? The only thing to do in life is build, checks company, a marketplace for selling courses. Another person says, Tech Bros in 2015. Learn to code is fun. You're treated well. Tech Bros today. Exactly. All of this just for a fitness tracker. That's the wrong company. Taps the sign. Only a slave quantifies his existence through productivity. Woo! Only a slave quantifies its existence through productivity. Big up Jet Franzen. Amazing, amazing. Another person says, imagine an alternate Twitter where the bankers, lawyers, consultants, doctors were tweeting about how late they work. Monday, 11 p.m., wrap my last brain surgery. The only thing to do in life is to cure cancer. Exactly. People will post like this and the product in question is another slop web dashboard. I'd really like some folks in tech to go work in banking or consulting or law just for the year to learn that working hard is hardly unusual and then pivot to posting about results instead of grind set mindset. I really do wonder why we don't get a lot of people actually creating interesting startups, you know? Why it's all basically slop. There's a guy, I saw a guy the other day, Y Combinator happened the other day, right? YC happened the other day. And I saw one of the guys pitching, and I think he kind of gave us a kind of brief overview of what his company does on TBPN. Big up TBPN, really good show that kind of covers loads of tech and startup stuff. And essentially he created a company, an AI company, of course, that creates marketing videos, like marketing little reels and posts. And it's like, so essentially he's built, or he's got some sort of prompt or whatever that uses something that's already readily available to create bespoke, custom kind of whatever adverts for clients and customers. And I think he said he charges 30 grand per asset, 30 grand per piece of video, 30K. Essentially, you're paying him 30K for him to write a prompt for you, specifically for your company, and then use that clip to then advertise whatever you're doing. Like, huh? Like, just nonsense, isn't it? Nonsense companies. Like, no one really doing anything interesting. No one really trying to revolutionize housing, medicine, I don't know, transportation, health. There's no startup that's trying to, I don't know, repurpose public parks. I don't know. It's just all bullshit, really. It's kind of sad how sloppy it is at the moment. Another person says, watch my child take his first steps. Watch a movie with my wife. Help build a shitty e-commerce site. 3 a.m. NYC, Cameron, bedtime, oh forgot. VC call, they're telling you to stop posting this guy is embarrassing to investors. The only thing in life is to remember that life exists outside the screen. There's no one passionate about building an e-commerce platform. BS. Software engineering is not real engineering. Get a job, you fucking bum. Jesus Christ. Okay, cool. Like I said, I'm not really the biggest fan of that sort of stuff personally, but I do think there is some utility out of doing this when you're young. When you're young and you're virile and you believe in the mission and you actually want to push yourself and see how far you can push yourself, then do it. Especially if they're offering you equity early on, because you never know where the company can go. A lot of these people, like these co-founders, they don't really make these companies for the long run. they're usually in it to kind of eventually sell it to an Etsy, sell it to an eBay, sell it to whoever, right? Sell it to a fucking Squarespace. So there's definitely a potential that you could get a big payout from it. So big up everybody that does that sort of stuff. Let me read some of the chat. What's the chat saying here? Sounds spammy. Sounds like a basically create your own hustlers university. Exactly. How much equity you get over staying over time? Big up Rick MB. You wouldn't get equity staying over time. You usually get equity after you pass a certain, after you pass your probation, I think. Usually most companies work that way. And they usually give you a small percentage, but you usually get equity after you pass probation, from what I remember. Don Dota seems like hustle culture is coming back. Not that I'm against it. Yeah, I get that feeling too. I think it's there has to be a correlation between hustle culture coming back and the end of like wokeism. You know, wokeism's sort of like out of trend, and hustle culture is kind of back. It kind of is making a lot more sense. And I feel like I'm seeing Andrew Tate on my timeline more. I wonder if is any correlation between seeing Andrew Tate back on my timeline, hustle culture is kind of back. So that there's probably some correlation to it, which again I think is a good thing because the economy is so shit. I don't mean it in terms of a pull your bootstraps up. I think because the economy is so terrible, it's probably a good thing that people are thinking and trying to hustle, trying to get themselves out of the rut, trying to get themselves out from a dark place, out from a place of poverty. Because unfortunately, based on the budget that we had in the UK and other places around the world, the governments aren't really here to save you or won't save you, you know? Politicians aren't going to save you. Whoever's prime minister or president of your country isn't really going to make any difference. You really have to really consider or accept, let's say, that the power is really in your hands. You have the power to really control your own destiny, however disturbing and unnerving that may be. And really, if you do want to change things, then unfortunately, working really late, working really long can actually help those type of things, especially if you're doing deep work. So yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it. Big up Mr. Big up MS, let's see here. Bro, this sounds like a fucking sweatshop. I'm going to be blunt. If you can make money outside of your job, you don't do shit like this. People do crazy hours, but it's always dependent on the NP. But that's a problem though, brother. That's a problem. You say that, I do agree with you. If you do make a little bit of extra side money outside of your work, you probably shouldn't be doing that. But number one, you're salaried at a job, so it doesn't really matter if you work long hours or not. It's not like they pay you overtime, right? You're salaried. So wherever your salary is, you get paid. If you leave at 5, you get paid the same amount as if you leave at 8 p.m. But let's not lie. Let's not lie, people. We do know that working longer hours, being more committed, being willing to not take holidays and stuff, in the corporate world, in the business world, in startup world, in even just working in a fucking street food cart somewhere, that makes a difference. That makes a big, big, big difference of how people perceive you, of your reliability, of your fucking linchpinability or whatever it is, right? Those things do make a big difference. Especially if you're still in probation and you want to pass it, especially if you're trying to get a promotion. Those things make a big difference. So that's why that toxic culture exists, because people know it makes a difference. They know it's going to look good, you know, it's to the higher ups. So they kind of play with that in order to kind of get themselves forward and to kind of give themselves a better opportunity to maybe get a promotion and a salary bump and shit. But overall, I think you're going to be, it's one of those things that you can't really dictate. So that's why it's important whenever you apply somewhere that you do your Googles. You do your Googles, you check sites like, you know, in the UK, we've got Glassdoor. I'm sure you guys in the States and everywhere else have your own version where people review companies and tell you how it is to work there. But you should do your due diligence, because sometimes you could be unlucky and you could walk into a company where you had no idea that was a work culture. And then you get there and it's the work culture where you have to, you know, where it's kind of, you know, people are impressed if you stay after 8 p.m. So it's really luck, really. It's really luck. And then continue on, big up Don Dota. These guys probably getting 10K month minimum, the same in stock options combined with difficult software job market. I don't feel bad for them all. They're enjoying it. Don't get me wrong. I don't think those guys are complaining. It's us on the internet. No one from that company is coming out saying they're overworked and stuff. They really love it, especially living in a place like New York, right? They're making a bunch of money. They're in a really cool place, one of the nicest place people kind of deem to be in New York. It's having a bit of renaissance, I feel like, nowadays, right? Maybe it's just me. I feel like New York's having a bit of a renaissance. Everyone's kind of fucking in love with fucking New York. So, and it's a great city, don't get me wrong. So yeah, I don't think they are crying. They're not crying. Let me check some of their videos here. Another advert. I'm not gonna lie, they make some cool videos. We're excited to announce Whoop is now official payments network for Micro One. What the fuck is Micro One? Oh, is that like a prediction market or something? Because it says here there's 2 cars racing and it gives you a multi-choice, 3 options to pick what to do next. What's the best tactic? Is this like a prediction market? Prediction marketplaces as well, man. They're popping off, innit? Fucking hell. Everyone's gambling in a way.
Check.
Choose the best tactic. Tactical pattern recognition. Discover the attack. Pin. Fork. Fork.
Chat, should I put $5 grand on GameStop right now?
Yeah, okay.
Cam, sweetie, it's time for dinner.
1 sec, Mom. I'm getting my payout from Whop.
Okay. Fair enough. They made some cool adverts. Not gonna lie, the adverts are pretty cool. Well done. But yeah, they seem to be okay with it. That exciting life. So someone joined them. An exciting life update. I've now left Meta Superintelligence Labs and joined Whop. Today marks the end of the unbelievable chapter. I joined Meta 12 years ago. I started building. I truly believe we're entering a new world where anyone can build anything, and I'm looking forward to helping to build into build. I'll be running all product engineering across Whop's ecosystem, and I could not be more excited to get going. Building cool shit with my friends. Oh, that's a bit. Oh, that's a little bit manipulative, parasocial language there. Friends, family. Oh, I don't like that. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like that. That's the thing I don't like. When your job place starts to refer to you as a friend, as family, that I do not like. Building cool shit with my friends. I'm not too sure about that. I'm not too sure about it. As long as he's happy, innit, I guess. As long as he's happy. And yeah, man. That's it, really. Big up Whop. Big up Whop. Big up fucking Whop. Moving on. Talking about jobs. This is a really good meme. Big up the person that made this meme. Fucking amazing. The meme title is Mysterious Source of Income Creative People. The first picture features somebody that most of you may know, the guy called Chris Black from the How Long Gone podcast. It features him, I think he's a really good kind of person to put on this mood board, because a lot of people before the pod wondered how he made his money. I think now with the pod and his brand, it's probably a little bit more easy to understand. And if you listen to the pod, you know he does a lot of consultancy work and shit, so that makes sense. But underneath his picture, it says, very creative job that is somewhat businessy, quote unquote, consulting at a fund, or just like, quote, company in the bio. That's the thing, like, how do you become a consultant? How does one, is it just being friends with somebody? Like, how does one defer to you as a consultant? Because a lot of people that I've met in my life that have these like vague job titles where they're consultants for some company and they get put on retainer, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're pretty shit at what they do, you know? They have pretty basic knowledge. They're not that super well informed. And don't get me wrong, Chris Black is probably the exception. He's been in the game for a fucking long time. But most people I've met who are creative consultants don't have a fucking clue. Like, they've never actually made anything themselves, you know? They're essentially just a very, in my opinion, just a very enthusiastic consumer. But they somehow get those consultancy jobs, and they usually pay pretty well. They usually, don't get me wrong, you're on invoice, you have to wait around for that invoice to get paid, and it can be a bit difficult, but it usually pays very, 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 very well. And it obviously allows you a lot of freedom too. If not the pay, then the freedom to kind of do your own thing, move around the world, work from anywhere that you want to work from. But that must be kind of cool though, to be able to put that app thing on your bio. Me personally, I've never been the biggest fan of telling the internet where I work, you know? I don't think that's important at all. Maybe sometimes on the pod I'll share something and shit when I'm talking, but again, who listens to that fucking shit? But I think putting in, you know, making the company that you work at your identity on social media, a little bit lame. A little bit lame. Maybe it's good for the networking, right? In order to network, maybe there's some utility and strength of doing that sort of thing, but personally I'm not into it. Another part of the meme says aesthetic Instagram, but more popular on wordy platforms like X and Substack. Yep, I agree. I'm probably the same. I don't really have anything posted on my Instagram, mostly because I'm not that inspired to post on there, but I am starting to post a lot more on Twitter, and obviously I'm doing a lot more on my defaultgoon.wordpress as well. Although I did start a Substack, I didn't really, I think I've wrote one thing on my Substack, right? Do I even have one? Let's see. I don't know. Did I write one thing on there? I think I may have. Let's see if I've got one. Okay, I'm featured in one. That's true. But do I have one? Oh, this old article. Big up Lashian, by the way. Hopefully he's okay. I was featuring this article for a long time ago. A little interview thing. Big up Lashian, wherever he is. Not seen him in a bit, but big up Lashian. It's a cool little feature there. You can check out if you're that way inclined. But do I have one? I'm sure I had a. Did I have a Substack? Or am I bugging out? Maybe I don't have one then. I thought I had one. I thought I did have a Substack somewhere, but I guess not. But anyway, let's get back to the meme. Investors, quote unquote, acquired founder, but like nobody used the product they've built. Yeah, always traveling, but doesn't really talk about it. But you will find stories where you suddenly in another place, but also the picture is so vague and non-descriptive, like of a door or something. Yeah. But usually those people it's not that interesting. Usually people that have this sort of lifestyle just, they either work like what this person's saying, or they just have rich parents, which I think is kind of a cool way to kind of go about it. I think if you are the son, the daughter of a rich parent, I think it's better that you live a life where you're pretending to work this job. Like I think it's better if you come from a rich family, pretend like you have a job, pretend like you're a consultant. Carry a moleskin book around with you, have your laptop in your little tote bag, always be posting pictures of yourself with your luggage, going to the random airports and shit, working outside of coffee stores, because it makes you look more interesting as opposed to just buying fancy things and just staying at home. I think it's actually better if you just, LARP as some sort of a creative consultant when you're going around. Balenciaga Rodeo as a work bag or Bottega and Diamo. How much is a Balenciaga Rodeo bag? I want to know how much. How much does that go for? Balenciaga Rodeo bag. How much does that go for? $3,000. Ooh, it's a beautiful bag though, isn't it? Look at that. It's camel suede one. Wow. I think if I had to get one, I'd probably get one of these ones. Is it? It comes in large too. That's a medium, right? Oh, you don't get the large one, that brown. This chestnut brown colorway is beautiful. The camel, right? Camel brown. Rodeo handbag, medium, and camel wax suede. Oh, gorgeous. You really can't go wrong with that. So if you see somebody with this type of bag, they've definitely got a vague creative job somewhere, right? If this is their work bag, a nearly £4,000 Balenciaga tote bag. It's beautiful though, isn't it? Wow, it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm not gonna lie. It's absolutely. Look at the hardware too. Little Balenciaga thing. I've noticed, by the way, since what's his name? Since Pier Paolo, whatever his fucking name is, from Valentino took over, there hasn't been much aesthetic change to Balenciaga's website, even, innit? Aesthetically, the website hasn't changed that much. I wonder if that's on purpose. I wonder if they told him, "Hey, you're coming in, just do the clothes. We're gonna keep the Demna aesthetics," because it hasn't really changed, has it? Let me see. If I click men, I click clothing, I click view all. Yeah, all the silhouettes are kind of the same. All baggy silhouettes. Like, there's not a lot of. Maybe they're waiting for his stuff to. Maybe the Valentino designer stuff is meant to come in later, but they haven't really changed the Balenciaga aesthetic since he started. Huh? It's still very, very much Demna inspired. Big baggy silhouettes and stuff. The same type of aesthetic and whatnot. Same even type of models. Anyway, continuing on with the meme. We've got eclectic mix of high-low fashion. Bottega with a thrift find. Ekas Lauter with something they picked off Taobao. Tabby's mandatory. Could be a grift. Oh, commonly in Portugal. Likely because of an ease of visa. Yeah. Big up all my people that live in Portugal. That's the home of all the fucking... That's the home of all the creative people that want to live in far-flung locations. I think they've got a scheme over there too that's meant to be helping people that want to work abroad and shit. I'm pretty sure, like other countries in Europe, they've got schemes to invite a lot of people to be there to kind of bolster the economy. But I think a lot of people that I know have kind of, I know loosely, have moved over to Portugal. FWB, something intersection of culture, technology, and potentially always joined 2021. Could be a grifter, generously wealthy, striving. Any two of the above. I think ultimately it doesn't really matter, you know? Ultimately, it doesn't really matter what this person does for work. I think nowadays, you know, whatever your guess is most likely right in terms of if you see a mysterious source of income, creative person, whatever your guess is, or whatever your guesses are, it's probably one of those. but it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. You're more better off focusing on what you got to focus on, worrying about getting yourself in a position that you need to get yourself in, and maybe seeing that person's source of inspiration, motivation. Because I haven't met a mysterious source of income creative person who I've ever felt intimidated by, who I've ever felt less than, who I ever felt like, you know, is much better than me in anything, to be completely honest. And it's always, I think, a very humbling experience, because it should tell you, hey, if this person who's not the smartest, not the sharpest tool in the shed, is able to live this life, is able to do the things that they are doing, is able to work at the places they are working at, then the only thing really stopping you is your own limiting beliefs. That's really it, really. And let people do what they need to do, really and truly. But I do actually remember this one time when I went to Nicaragua many years ago. And it really sticks with me because I think that was the same time that I read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Big up Tim Ferriss. My first time reading The 4-Hour Workweek, it kind of opened me up to the idea of like the 4-hour workweek and working remotely and being freelance and whatever else it may be, right? And having a muse, right? The whole idea of a muse is that you created a business that just allowed you. The whole idea of the book anyway, The 4-Hour Workweek, it was a bit misleading because they had, you know, the title, very clickbaity, but made people kind of, you know, roll their eyes at it. But the idea behind it was that Tim Ferriss would kind of give you the methodology and whatever else it may be to create a business that you only needed to check on 4 hours a week. And then that would allow you the rest of the week to do the things that you actually love to do, which, whether, I think in the book he talks about salsa dancing, learning a language, playing tennis, whatever it may be, whatever things you like to enjoy to do, it gives you more time to do those type of things. And I remember reading that book when I went to Nicaragua in a couple of hostels. I was kind of reading it, bouncing around and shit. And then I went to this one particular hostel where I stayed at for a while, which I think was called, is it like Bigfoot or Elephant Foot? It's a really popular one over there. I think it might be in Leon. And I bumped into this guy. I think I even remember his name. It was such an interesting experience. I think his name was like Bruno Nascimento or something like that, right? I think Bruno Nascimento or some shit. I bumped into this guy at the thing. Really cool guy, super cool surfer dude, you know. And at that time, he was one of the first people that I met who was working remotely. And this was time ago, many years ago. I never even knew that was a thing. Like, what's this concept of like not having to work in an office? Like, you work for a company in Europe, but you're here on a beach or like in a fucking hostel in fucking Nicaragua. What the fuck? And I remember it took so long for me to pull it out of him eventually that he was working remotely. He didn't want to say. He was really guarded, very kind of, he kept it close to his chest. Because I guess at that time he was one of the first people to be doing it. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't bait. It wasn't kind of overdone that. Not everybody's kind of trying to work remotely and trying to do the whole thing and work for a startup in other various countries and kind of do your own thing, whatever it may be. But back then that wasn't a thing. Back then it wasn't that popular. So I think the whole mysterious source of income person thing has been blown up anyway. Some people are probably just lying, like I said, and just pretending to be mysterious, and when it's just funded by their parents. And other people are mysterious, and you just let them be mysterious and focus on yourself, really, isn't it? That really is the only way to go. That really is the only way to go. Hey, yo, also, big up Jeremy O'Harris, man. I'm really happy to hear this news. Big up blood clot Jeremy O'Harris. I'm happy he's released from custody in Japan. He was arrested a couple of weeks ago, actually, because I think the first time I read the story, they said he had a crystal of MDMA in his wallet that he probably forgot about, by the way. Bless him, right? He probably didn't even do it on purpose. He probably just forgot that he had it in his wallet. But allegedly he had a little crystal, a little shard of MDMA in his wallet. The Japanese immigration people or whatever in the airport found it. And you know, people in Asia, they do not care. They do not play about the drogas, and they locked him up. And obviously a lot of people were laughing about it. Most importantly, the person that was laughing about it the most was a Dasher from Red Scare. She was taking a bit of a victory lap, I think, about the whole affair because he had said some not so nice things about Dasher on Twitter. So she was taking some joy out of his demise. But he's now been released. So Jeremy O'Harris has been released from custody in Japan after drug smuggling allegations. It says Jeremy O'Harris, a playwright and actor best known for Slave Play and co-writer of A24 Zola, has been released from detention in Japan on drug smuggling allegations his rep has confirmed to the New York Times. He was released on December 8th. A spokesperson for the Tomishiro police station in Okinawa's Tomigusuku City told NYT after 3 weeks in custody. I can't imagine anything more harrowing anything scarier than being arrested in a country like that, especially in places in the world where they're very anti-drug. It's one thing being arrested in Europe for drugs, being arrested in England for drugs, being arrested in fucking, South America for drugs, like whatever, right? But being arrested in a place where that stuff is like super illegal and it carries heavy prison sentences, that would really worry me. I'd be really worried for my future, in general, right? For my immediate future. He says he was released without charges. His rep confirmed the outlet, adding that Harris will stay in Japan, writing and researching for an up-and-coming project. Rotted. So he was kept in custody for 3 weeks, and he's still going to stay there to do his work. That's a real creative soldier. Big up Jeremy Harris, man. He's getting straight to work. I guess he has to because he's probably wasted all his money from staying there, but that's a real fucking soldier. That's a real trooper. He's not even going home. He's just staying there to work. Hollywood Reporter also reached out Harris. His participation at the Red Sea Festival is quietly dropped. Harris was due to appear at the Indie Road movie, co-starring Charlie XCX. Harris, 36, was taken to custody on November 16th at Naha Airport after customs officers allegedly found 780 milligrams. Really? 700? Isn't that a tiny amount? 780 milligrams of crystal substance containing MDMA in a tote bag. A recreational dose pure MDMA or ecstasy is typically a range of 75 to 125 milligrams. Really? I feel that should be that seems like a tiny amount to me. Despite prosecutors in Okinawa having taken up the case against Harris in customs violations, he was released without formal charges. A graduate of Yale School of Drama, Harris rose to prominence in Slave Play, which became the most Tony-nominated play in Broadway history. Beyond theatre, he's also worked as co-producer of HBO's Euphoria, as well as supervising producer on Oliver Asaya's Irma Veep. Japan enforces some of the strictest narcotics laws in the developed world, prosecuting even small possession cases and often detaining suspects for extended periods of time without bail. So I guess that's what they do. That's going to send a good message, to be fair. That will send a good message. You stay in bail, you stay in custody for a prolonged period of time, no charges when you're out. But imagine being at an airport in Tokyo or an airport in Japan and then getting escorted to a jail somewhere and staying there for 3 weeks solidly. In a Japanese jail where I'm assuming everybody there speaks Japanese only. That's gonna be brutal. You're in there just on, like, you're probably the only foreigner there, maybe quite possibly the only black person there. You're gonna learn your lesson. You won't do that again. Harris, but it's also a good thing they didn't deport him. That you know what I mean? That probably shows that it was a really small amount. Harris' arrest echoes past cases involving foreign entertainers in Japan, including Grammy Award-winning DJ David Morales, who was detained in 2018 for similar charges, and most famously Paul McCartney, who in 1980 marijuana led to a lengthy entry ban from the country. Yo, Paul McCartney was trying to smuggle weed into Japan in the 80s. That's a real last N-word, mate. That's a real last N-word. But well done to Jeremy Harris. Happy he's back. Happy he's home. And hopefully nothing crazy happens to him. Actually, let me check his Instagram. Anything going on his Instagram? Jeremy Harris Instagram. What's happening? Has he posted anything on his IG? Nothing on his IG so far. But yeah, hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he's learned his lesson. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully that man has learned his lessons, because Jesus Christ, mate, going to Japan and carrying drugs with you does not seem like the smartest ideas. Does not seem like the smartest idea. Talking about smartest ideas. Let's talk a little bit about this. So, United v Wolves. Not much really to say. We won 4-1 away from home. Happy with the result, as it is. Happy with the result. Can't really complain about the result, not gonna lie. Performance-wise, wasn't the greatest. Although we won 4-1, didn't really feel like a 4-1 game. It was too up and down, too topsy-turvy for me. We didn't really have much control of the game throughout. I felt like even when we scored and made it 2-1, there was still a feeling in the back of my head that Wolves could come back into the game. I did enjoy some of the goals. I thought Bruno took his first goal really well. I thought Cunha's pass to him was absolutely horrible, but the pressure he put onto the defender to win the ball in the first place probably earned him a little bit of a little bit of a bly on that regard. But I thought the ball to Bruno was absolutely diabolical. I would like to see us do more of that in general. pressing defenders, making them make mistakes and then taking advantage of that. But we don't really press as a team. And there's too many gaps, I think, from the strikers to the midfielders. So if you don't press as a team and there's too many gaps and the defender breaks your press and nicks the ball past you, you know what I mean, you're out of the game and they're already kind of in loads of space. So it's a bit of a dangerous game to play. But still, very well taken goal from Bruno. He rescued a really, what we call like a hospital pass, kind of played behind him, spun around and was able to kind of slide that ball into the goal, even though the keeper got, I think, a slight touch on it. It kind of, squirmed underneath him. Wolves' goal was coming, by the way. I don't think the Wolves' goal was a surprise. I felt like as soon as we scored, we did the same thing that we always do. We kind of gave control back to Wolves. Although I think there was a chance before they scored, actually, where it could have been 2-0 because there was a handball in the box, which is odd because in the second half, we got a handball in the box. That was exactly the same thing. So I felt like the referee kind of tried to fix their mistake. Either way, they scored to make it 1-1. Which kind of puts us on the back ropes because, we've been having a poor run of form lately and everyone's kind of getting nervous that they were going to eventually beat us because that's just our luck at the moment. Wolves hadn't won in ages and, of course, we were going to hand them a win. That's what I was feeling like. But the goal, if anything, kind of galvanized us in the second half. We came out, I think, quite strong. We're able to score the second goal quite soon after the second half. I think in the 50th minute, right? Yeah, Brandon Buemo, really good finish, very unselfish play. I forgot who's put through, but whoever it was, very unselfish play. Love to see it. And then the last goal was by Mason Mount. I did predict, by the way, we were going to win 5-0. I'm not going to lie. I did randomly predict we were going to win 5-0. It ended up being 4-1. Mason Mount goal was beautiful. I love the movement. I love the ball over the top from Bruno. One of the better assists he's done in a while. He hasn't really been playing that well, in my personal opinion. But I thought that ball to Mason Mount was brilliant. And if anything, what I get annoyed by is that I feel like our strikers or our players have made those runs. When Højlund was at the club, I feel like Højlund made those runs, those curved runs to kind of beat the fucking offside trap and hoping a ball's going to come over. But no one really takes the chance. No one's really brave enough to play those passes, so it never comes. So good to see Bruno doing that pass first time, not differing. And of course, Mason Mount's finish, side foot volley, was no fucking joke. Really good as well. That was probably one of his better games. Again, I know it's Wolves, but just take the wins where they are. That was also one of Mason Mount's better games. And then the game kind of petered out from there. So 4-1, great result. I wouldn't really put much on the performance. I think this is maybe the worst Wolves sides we've faced in recent history. Wolves used to be one of our bogey teams, and this might be one of the worst Wolves sides. I think if you're Cunha, you're a little bit disappointed. He went back to his team and played. He didn't really do that well. He didn't really offer that much to be there. I still think he's still finding his feet at the club. And Mbeumo seems like he's really adapted and settled and seems like he's taken on the mantle of being the main guy. I don't really like the way Ahmad's playing currently. If I'd make a little observation, I feel like Ahmad's being a little bit too greedy. He's trying to win the game himself within the individual moment of brilliance and stuff. I also kind of feel like he kind of understands that he's the player that fans look at to kind of create things. So he's trying to force it too much. I think he needs to take his time, release the burden, pass to other players so he can get him more interest. Because I think the league, everyone knows in the league now that Ahmad's a good player. Ahmad's not a surprise anymore. So a lot of teams are now kind of marking him out, isolating him out of the game so he can't impact the game. But I think in order for him to find space, he should maybe not hold the ball as long, pass it to others and go from there. I didn't like the experiment with Cunha, I think, playing up front, if I'm not mistaken. Zerski was benched, which I don't think worked that well. Or Mount, sorry, up front. I didn't mind the Heaven starting again. I'm not really mad at that. Although I would like to see Martinez have a go. Maybe he's still getting his fitness straight. And then, of course, the Kobbie Mainoo situation, which, it seems that Amoim doesn't rate him at all. So that really isn't going to change. But when he did come on, he did look fairly good as well. So all in all, decent enough result. But the main thing to come out of that whole result was this ongoing back and forth between Ruben Amorim and Kobbie Mainoo. Because it seems like in recent months or something has changed. Because in the first year, it seemed that Amorim did fancy Kobbie Mainoo and was playing him quite often. This season, it seems like he's relegated him to the bench. He hasn't started, I think, a single game this season, with maybe the exception of that game we lost to fucking, whatever that team was in the League Cup. Fucking delete that out of my brain. But he hasn't played at all. He hasn't started at all in any of our league games whatsoever. And it's been really hard pill to swallow for fans like myself, because we're not a good team. Yes, the table may tell you, I think if I look now, right, EPL table, I think we're like 5th or something, right? Something stupid. What are we, 5th? We're 6th. Somehow we're 6th. Doesn't really make any sense. We're not the 6th best club in the league, But this league has been so topsy-turvy, so up and down, so all over the place that if you string a couple of wins together, you could be solidly in the top 4. It doesn't really take that much. So the fact that Amorim is kind of fumbling that top 4 finish so far is very, very concerning to me personally. And the thing that I don't like about it the most is that the Kobbie Mainoo situation, I don't think we have a team that's good enough that would warrant that Kobbie never plays a game or never even comes with a sub. I don't think so. I don't think there's a single player in that team, Bruno Fernandes included, who deserves to play every single match. I don't think so. I think everyone's been fairly poor. Maybe with the exception of, maybe consistency-wise, Casemiro, maybe Senny Lemons, maybe since he's come in has been fairly decent across the board. But I think everyone's space in that team, everyone's spot in that team is up for grabs, in my personal opinion. Ruben Amorim disagrees, and he's had a lot of back and forth with people in the press conference after the fact, because a lot of the British journalists anyway are big fans of Kobbie Mainoo, as I am, know what he did for England, and are questioning why Kobbie Mainoo can't start for a very poor Manchester United team, who I would say that the midfield is probably our weakest position. That's what makes it even more concerning for Kobbie Mainoo. If you can't play for this Man United team where the midfielders are probably weakest position, maybe second only to up front, right? We don't really have a lot of strikers. I think you have to be very concerned that you're never going to play because the manager clearly doesn't rate you. So let me read the article here. It says Ruben Amorim on Kobbie Mainoo. Man United boss defends omission of the midfielder as academy support is questioned. Ruben Amorim says Rasbappi defended the decision to continue or omit Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo 20 is yet to start a Premier League game this season and remained an unused substitute throughout the 1-1 draw at West Ham on Thursday evening. Amorim was asked repeatedly about the player during the press conference at Old Trafford. Asked if he sees that there's a risk of becoming demoralised after another game in which he left on the bench, Amorim says, "I see it. I just want to win. I try to put the players, I don't look at who it is. I don't care about that. I'm just trying to put the players the best to win." That's not true though. Because the problem that I have with Amorim's decision not to play Kobbie is this. Early in the season, Ruben Amorim said that Kobbie Mainoo's competition in the squad was Bruno Fernandes. I do remember him saying that, right? Let me see if I'm not wrong. But I do remember Amorim, Kobbie, competition, Bruno Fernandes. I'm pretty sure he said that, right? That's his competition in the squad. Let me see if I'm right. Ruben Amorim has told Kobbie Mainoo he has to compete with Bruno Fernandes on the team. He's fighting with Bruno. Okay. That's the problem though. Because Bruno never gets subbed. Bruno's never injured, so he's always available to play. And because of his previous form, what he's done for us in the past, some fans, some players, or some managers have this idea that he can never be subbed or taken off because Bruno can maybe produce a moment, which I think is not fair on Kobbie Mainoo. Because if Kobbie Mainoo is doing all he can in training to make himself ready, to prove that he's good enough to play, but the player in front of him is being picked on legacy, is being picked on CV, not on what they've actually done on the pitch. And even if they like Bruno has these type of things, I don't know why it is specifically with Bruno, where he won't play well in the game, but the manager will still won't sub him. If anything, if Bruno doesn't play well, what Ruben Amorim will do is that he'll just push him further up the pitch. So instead of playing the double pivot with Casemiro, he'll go and play further forward as like a false 9 or play as a high 10 or something. I mean, all that sort of nonsense. So it seems like he can have a poor game and Ruben Amorim will find a way for him to influence the game. But Kobbie then can't play and impress in his favourite position because the player in front of him can never be subbed or rarely get subbed, if ever. I can't remember the last time he did get subbed, I'm not going to lie. That's the main problem. So although he's saying he wants people to win, when there's a chance to change things to win, he doesn't do it because he's kind of, in his own way, he's also kind of risk averse. It continues. He says, you have Ugarte that played 2 games. One of them is Casemiro was out. Bruno, he's always fit. He's the guy that is doing his position. So maybe he has to do that with that. Again, that's not fair because if it was not about being fit, it's about not playing well. If someone doesn't play well, can the other person take their spot or at least try to impress you? I don't think that is the point. He says, asked if players department of AFCON could present a chance for England midfielder. He says, I don't know. Right? So let me play the clip actually, because that clip was very interesting. There's 2 clips I want to play here for you. One clip. There's one thing that I'd be concerned about, which I don't have the clip for it, but I'd be very concerned if I was Kobbie Mainoo about this. Amorim was asked in the press conference, Amorim said to the press people actually, when they kept grilling him about Kobbie, he was like, who would be more offensive to bring on? He asked the press. And they said, Kobbie Mainoo. And then he laughed. And I think the laugh was just the fact that, maybe he wasn't thinking about Kobbie at that moment and he got kind of caught out. Maybe the laugh was him thinking, yeah, right, I'm playing Kobbie Mainoo, which is also a fucking disrespect. But either way, if I'm Kobbie Mainoo, I'm not happy with that response from my manager. I'm definitely not happy with that response. I'm pissed off. I think he doesn't rate me. He's kind of openly mocking me in a press conference, and I'm trying to get my move. I'm trying to get out as soon as possible. But the weird thing about this club, we're not letting him go. The club refuses to let Kobbie Mainoo go on loan in January. Mostly because they know he's a really great player, and if they do let him go, we're gonna end up regretting it. And there's no guarantee that Amorim stays. But the fact that they won't let him go, even though Amorim clearly doesn't like, even though everything I've said about Kobbie Mainoo, I love the guy. I think he's good enough to play for this club, good enough to play for this team. I think if his position is if he can only play in, which I don't agree with, by the way. I think he can play the same position that Mount plays. He can play on left if he wants to. But if Amorim is so dead set on his formation and his tactics, and he thinks the only position that Kobbie can play is where Bruno plays, then move. Because Bruno's Portuguese. Bruno is one of the best players in the club that everyone always says, which I don't think is necessarily true, because everything kind of goes through him and he spams balls and he's not good at looking after the ball. And I just generally think he's massively overrated, Bruno Fernandes. But if that's the case, you have to go. For the sake of his career, Kobbie has to leave the club because clearly Amorim doesn't fancy him. But the thing that was most concerning was this little tense exchange between a journalist called Carl Anker and Ruben Amorim, where he was kind of, called out for saying, I don't know, about certain topics, and kind of got called out about it, which he didn't really like. And it was very, 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 very tense exchange. Very, very tense exchange.
Mr. Amorim, last season you made mention of the squad's physicality, it was different in Europe compared to the Premier League. Today, you've mentioned a lot about second balls. Do you think the team has that necessary, the characteristics you talked about?
No, we can win second ball. We were winning second balls, and after the goal, we lost a little bit the second ball, especially with Mateus. It's moments of the game, and that's why I try to put Manu and Mason Mount. They are aggressive, trying to win the second ball, and that can happen in moments of the game, not all the time.
So is that to be clear, do you believe that's a fatigue problem or constant?
No, it's not. I don't know. It's more tactical than physical. Is to be prepared for fighting for the second ball. Maybe because we score a goal, we are a little bit more relaxed. I have the feeling that we had the game under control because the opponent is not even near our box. I don't know. I have to check.
Please forgive me for this question.
No, of course.
Just press conference, you said, I don't know, multiple times. But also, you do know
so
the
pissed.
things that you want to do to improve them and fix them.
I said don't know today, many times.
This press conference, you said, I don't know in response to
This one, more.
this one today.
Yeah, but when? When?
And I'm essentially asking you,
But when I say don't know, which question?
Let's move on. Rob.
Ooh, he was so pissed. He was so fucking pissed. Big up Carl Anker, man. That was a brilliant question, by the way. He did say, I don't know. He said, I don't know, like 3 times there. I guess he probably didn't notice it. Maybe I don't know in his head doesn't mean what it means to us. Maybe it's just like who knows? But it was a good question. It was a good grilling because he does get away with some bullshit, He is the poet. That was true. He does get away with the way he speaks and his charisma. We're just talking nonsense after the games and not really answering questions. And it's good that he's being called out about some of these things, especially when it comes to the offensive substitutions. You have the kids there. You say you believe in them, but you never play them. You say that every position in the club or in the team is up for grabs and competition, but when players, especially like Bruno, play badly, they never get subbed. It's always somebody else. Then he gets accommodated elsewhere. It's just a fucking nonsense. But I think things like this type of tense moments, this type of pressure that's Amorim's under to play Kobbie, I think it's just going to make him more intent on not playing him. Unfortunately, he's a manager. He's got his point of view. He's very wedded to it. He said he's never going to change. And I just think nowadays in modern day football, it takes a lot for a manager to change their opinion on a player. It doesn't happen too often. In modern day football, once a manager has decided you're no good for him, you're a distraction, you're this, you're that, whatever, your time is your time is numbered. You might as well just leave. You might as well force a move out of the club as soon as possible, because especially for someone like Kobbie Mainoo, he's 20 years old, right? Recently turned 20. You've got so much developing to do. You don't want to waste any time just warming up the bench. You want to be playing first team football. You want to have the ability to maybe, potentially, get yourself back into the England squad ahead of the World Cup. You want to be playing in the Champions League. You want to be competing in the best leagues in the world. You want to be sharpening your fucking skills and shit. And you can't be doing that coming on and doing like 10-minute cameos. You know what I mean? That ain't going to work. So if I was Kobbie Mainoo, if I am Kobbie Mainoo, if I was him, I'm leaving the club ASAP. I know he loves the club, boyhood fan. I think even the fact that he keeps asking for loans, and he doesn't want to leave, I think is a sign that he's really, really fucking loves United. But for the sake of his career, you have to go. It seems like Ineos are going to die on the Amorim hill, which I understand. I don't like it, but I understand it. Because if they sack Amorim, it's an admission that their experiment, their operation's been a failure, which it has personally. I think since the moment Ineos walked into the club, they failed. They've made mistakes. The first mistake was giving, what's his fucking name, Erik ten Hag, a contract renewal at the end of the season when he beat fucking Man City in the FA Cup. I think that would have been a perfect moment to shake his hand and tell him to fuck off. They didn't. They kept him for another year. He spent another 200 million. He left us with a bunch of players we just only got rid of recently. And it just kind of prolonged the inevitable, right? So then you get Amorim in mid-season. You pay him out on his contract. But then you don't sign the players that he needs to play his football. So they've kind of fucked Amorim too at Ineos. You know, it's not all Amorim's fault. He does have some blame to it, but you know, we're kind of here. So I think that might be the reason why Ineos are so hesitant to sack Amorim, even if he goes like on a bad run of games, because it would be an admission that they fucked up as well. And if he goes, I'd imagine Jason Wilcox has to go too. You know, these type of people have to go as well. So maybe we won't get that soon. So if that's the case and Ineos are going to stay with Amorim until the end of the season, I don't think Kobbie in his development can afford to sit on the bench for another season. I just don't think so. I think he has to move for the betterment of his career and then hopefully build from there. That's what I would hope so. That's what I'd hope for. But there was a really interesting clip that I feel like echoed a lot of my thoughts, taken from the podcast that Paul Scholes has with Nicky Butt and shit, called The Good, The Bad and Football. Really good quote from these guys, and they basically echoed a lot of my thoughts regarding Kobbie Mainoo has to leave. This is Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt, two Manchester United legends. I think Paul Scholes the other day got rated as one of the best midfield player in the Premier League history. Really, really fucking good players. And again, players that you would imagine would like a profile player like Kobbie Mainoo. They know if Kobbie Mainoo played in the same team that they played in, they'd love it. Do you know? They'd love playing alongside him. Proper footballer. So let's hear what Paul Scholes, Nicky Butt have to say about Kobbie Mainoo.
Kobbie Mainoo, he said he's a starter. He's made 9 appearances in the Premier League. Every one of them as a sub.
If I'm looking after Kobbie Mainoo, I'm going, Kobbie, we're getting you out of that football club. Don't need to speak up, we'll sort it out.
It's so
he's
sad.
Got, it's sad.
So
he's got
sad
to
to think of that,
for his football career, he has to leave Man United.
Do you think
he's lost 18 months of development.
Yeah. Does he stay in the Premier League or does he do
well, that's
like
a scary
what
thing.
Scott
I hope he goes
does?
abroad. Because it's embarrassing if he comes to Chelsea, which they might go and get him. Because they are putting together a very good young squad, and they keep buying young players, and they keep buying the right good young players. And you're thinking he could quite easily end up at Chelsea next season.
And do you know what? You'd have to advise him to go. Wouldn't
You'd have to advise him to go.
If he rang me today and said, "Look, I think Chelsea are anything. What do you think?" That's fucking all day long.
I've known Kobbie since he was 7 or 8. If I went for a coffee with Kobbie and him, you wouldn't be doing him justice if he said, "No, Kobbie, stay at Man United because it's the best club in the world." I'd said that to loads of kids.
Yeah.
If I was sat with him, I'd say, for your own sanity and career, go.
The club is so toxic. That some of the ex-players who are usually top reds, right? Paul Scholes and Nicky Butts are usually top reds. They usually always go down the party line. They echo the thoughts of the club. The club is great. Stay there. It's the best club in the world. But even the legends are saying, hey, they're saying to a homegrown player, an academy player, leave. And I don't blame him. If he left, I don't blame him. It's a mess. The club's a mess. Like I said, I think a lot of the Kobbie situation really isn't his fault. I think the more the fans pressure Amorim and try and pressure him into picking Kobbie Mainoo, I don't think it's going to do him any favours, by the way. I think if fans, like even the reception Kobbie got when he came on against Wolves, the reception that Kobbie Mainoo got when he came on against Wolves, I don't think it's going to make Amorim want to play him more. It's going to make Amorim want to assert his dominance, assert his control, assert his authority, and be like, no, this is my team. Nobody else is. I mean, I pick who plays. You don't convince me who plays. So Kobbie's going to be in a really fucking shitty situation with that in tide. So for his development, he should leave. I don't want him to leave. I think it's ridiculous that he is on the bench and doesn't get so many minutes because we're not a good team. We're not a good football team. If he was playing for a good football team with a lot of competition in the midfield, I get it. Like if he's playing for Chelsea, he's on the bench, I don't think he's going to complain. You have to kind of work your way into a team. But being on the bench consistently for this United team, when your competition is Bruno Fernandes and fucking Casemiro, come on, man, come on. It's not good enough for me personally. But hopefully they get it sorted. Hopefully it gets sorted. Yo, big up the stream chat, big up AZ, big up, looking forward to tuning in. Appreciate you, Just Web. Big up Don Dotto, Kobbie to Napoli. No, thank you. I want him to stay at United. But if he goes to Napoli, I prefer that, to be fair. I prefer him going Napoli than going to fucking Chelsea. I'm not going to lie. I prefer Kobbie goes Napoli to go Chelsea. I don't want to see him in the Premier League fucking, spinning around defenders, popping through balls, finishing that, he's like his signature style of finishing with the side foot. I don't want that personally. Big up Run It Up 647. Are we really getting another random show after this? Free shows are crazy. Yeah, of course, brother, of course. When I say I'm doing something, I'm saying I'm doing something. But yeah, we're doing that. So make sure if you enjoy the shows, like the stream and all that stuff, that'll be greatly appreciated. Let's move on. Let's talk about this. Oh my God. The undefeated City exclusive Air Max 95s. Like, oh my God, bro. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really that impressed with the initial 95s that Undefeated put out, right? What were they? The Undefeated 95s, right? What were they? Let's see if I can get them up for you here. There were these like white and black pair, right? There were these white and black. Yeah, there's these pairs here. I wasn't that impressed with these two. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't that impressed with these two. Oh no, sorry. They kind of echoed. That's the one. These ones here. They kind of echoed the 97s from back in the day. I wasn't that impressed with these. There's the black pair and there's also a white pair, right? Is there a pair in white? But anyway, they come in black, all black. Weirdly enough, though, I've not seen this before. This pair, they have the bubble completely colored. I've never seen 95s where the bubble's colored in. So the bubble on these is black, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's a black bubble. Pretty cool. I've never actually seen that before, but it's got this, I guess like a faux Gucci print thing with a green and red stripe on the side of the 95s. The air bubbles have been colored in black, and obviously you got the standard mesh gradient sort of thing going on there, and you got the zip tie here on the laces. So again, wasn't that impressed with these, to be completely honest. Didn't really like them. They also put together, I think there was also a video, right? Undefeated. There's like a video. Let me see if I can find their Instagram. But I'm pretty sure they made like a video around the whole thing featuring some cars. Where are they? Is it here? Yeah, there it is. So this is the one, right? This Undefeated Maxis. Let me quickly put this up here so I can see it going. The caption says Undefeated and Nike 6 of the 12th. So these already came out, right? And this is a what? A BMW E36. So this is some of the promo. These are obviously the shoes. The Undefeated Air Max 90 Black is constructed in a stacked monochromatic layers of loose mesh, rich textured leather, heavy duty nylon, two-tone Undefeated branding, high gloss patent leather on the upper. Additional details include a silver lace lock, metallic mini swoosh that complement the shoes, reflective details, underfoot, Undefeated branding. So yeah, again, loads of detail announced there, but not really my thing, not really my taste, right? The colored in. Oh, I didn't know the tip was patent. That's pretty cool. That's a nice little detail there. Patent tip there. Little patent leather, little tip at the front. Toe box, sorry. The white pair, as you can see there, the same sort of thing. And again, it kind of gives it an interesting feel when the air bubbles kind of colored in. It kind of makes them look a little bit more slimmer, actually. They don't look as bulbous as the regular MX 95 when the air bubble is not like a contrasting color or not like an obvious color and shit. And then of course you got them with the shoebox and stuff, and more of a picture there. Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Oh shit! I thought that was fucking the guy from Good Morning TV. But yeah, in case you don't see that, that's the white kind of BMW E36. They drive it off of a ramp and it kind of lands in a pile of undefeated Nike boxes, brown boxes essentially. Kind of a cool little thing they did there. I'm not really too mad at that. But forget this white pair. Forget this fucking white pair. Who gives a shit about this white and black pair? Who gives a shit about this fucking white and black pair? Let's talk about the pair that really matters, which is this city exclusive Air Max 95 pack. This came out of nowhere. You got the neon Air Max 95s, the classic iconic neon Air Max 95s, and they've just added on the neon 95s a stripe with the undefeated written there, like a nice black little tape that says undefeated on one of the lowest pairs or lowest bits of the gradient. So it's a nice little pop there. But it's apart from that, it's a standard Air 95. I'm not too sure if they've changed the materials. I think this is all suede. I think other 95s it's a combination of like nubuck and suede, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. AM 95 neon 2025 or 2025. Sorry, my bad. 2025. That dropped earlier this year, right? I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that those neons are meant to be more of a nubucky type of a material. There we go, right? That might be it there. Cool. Via StockX. I'm pretty sure the material is like a nubucky or nubuck-like. There's meant to be one on Farfetch too. Really? Someone's got one on Farfetch. Let's see. Is that like a resale one? Let's see. Okay, cool. As you can see there, how many sizes? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so I think they've changed the material slightly, if I'm not mistaken. I think the material is slightly different. I think on regular 95s, it's like maybe what they've got in the undefeated is more of a softer suede, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a softer suede actually. Maybe the suede is somewhat softer. I'm not really too sure, but I do like that finish. That finish is fucking buttery. It looks like a more of a hairier suede. It looks like the panels are a little bit more flatter as well. They're not as protruding as the other ones usually. But look, so that's what a regular 95 looks like, the one that came out earlier until 2025. And of course, you've got the one I just mentioned now, which is the undefeated one. So they do look kind of different on the upper. But again, additionally, just that little stripe on the side is fucking great little look there. Underneath, you've got undefeated written as well on the sole, which is fucking beautiful. Black text with the neon green background and that little heel unit. You've also got this really cool little zip tie here, or whatever they're called, right? Is it zip tie, pull tab, whatever? With also the undefeated logo embossed on there too. You've got the undefeated stripe that kind of runs along here. I think this is also partly 3M. I'm not gonna lie. I think this stripe that runs along the side of the 95. Oh yeah, look, it's a hairy suede. You see, it's more of a hairy suede. So the suede on this reminds me more of the neon. So the Air Max 95. The one that was for MoMA, the MoMA ones, right? I think that's what the leather reminds me of. I think it's the same type of leather they had on the MoMA ones. Sorry, not AM 95, my bad. MoMAs. I'm pretty sure it's the same type of leather. Let's see if I can find one to show you, but I'm pretty sure it's the same type of leather. So boom, boom, boom. Let's copy image address. Let's do that. And let's just move this across. I think that's the same leather, if I'm not mistaken. Those are really good as well, by the way. They sold out. I tried to buy them when they actually dropped, but they were out of my basket so fast. But I think it's the same type of leather. And this is a reverse neon. That's a really cool idea, by the way. The MoMA ones. This is a reverse neon. They flip the gradient the other way around. As you can tell, right? They flip the gradient the other way around. And then on these ones, they've got the same version of the suede there as well on the side. Looks fucking gorgeous, man. Actually, they got something different on the sole. What's going on in this? Okay, the sole's the same. Midsole's the same. They look fucking beautiful. But yeah, I think that stripe on the side is 3M, which is really cool little hit. So you got this stripe or one of the panels on the side that has half undefeated, half 3M. But I think the whole thing is probably 3M. I'm not gonna lie. There's a nice 3M tip on the back here, neon green, Nike Air branding on the back of the heel. Oh wow, they're individually numbered. Really? Are they individually numbered? That's the thing. Nike are a bit cheeky. When they make individually numbered shoes nowadays, They don't actually say 2. So this says there's 600 pairs made. For some reason, the New York colorway is neon green. That neon green colorway is a London colorway. That's not New York at all. I think people in London wear neon Air Max 95s way more than people wear in New York, but whatever. It says New York 1 of 600, but I don't think Nike do numbered shoes anymore. They have number tags, but they're not numbered individually. So you won't know what number you have. You just got a number, which also makes it harder to actually prove that they're limited, you know? Because they're not actually limited. I don't think so. But yeah, nice little label there on the inside. You got the Undefeated tab there with the Nike swoosh too. There's also a red pair, a yellow pair, and a blue pair. And they're all different locations. I think the blue pair is meant to be Birmingham, but I don't know if it's Birmingham, the UK, or Birmingham is somewhere in North America. I'm not too sure. It would have been cooler if they put the city names underneath the sole. That would have been but they got I guess they got the fucking acronym of the cities on the tongue. Oh no, maybe on some. It says BSF here, BSFC. Where's this a neon green one? Does it say anything on neon green one? Okay. Huh. Why does it say the location on one, not the other one? And the neon green has Air Max on the tongue. I wonder why it's so different. But either way, they look fucking gorgeous. Due to come out tomorrow, allegedly. This is a shock drop out of nowhere. Due to come out tomorrow. Courtesy of Hypebeast, it says. Oh no, let's just go maybe to the Undefeated site. What does the Undefeated site say? Let's see what Undefeated on their Instagram actually say instead of Hypebeast, because they might have some wrong information. What does Undefeated on their site say about these shoes? Undefeated Nike Air Neons, 12 of the 12. Let's see what it says about the red pair. They got the Undefeated Fire Red, reimagined with Undefeated and Nike Classic returns. The two brands continue to celebrate of the Air 95 as limited Tokyo release. Oh wow! So the red one is Tokyo. This edition draws inspiration from the OG color blocking while adding Undefeated branding, rich hairy suede overlay. That's what I said. A fire red swoosh, a fire red gel swoosh. Really? There's a fire red gel swoosh on the red ones. I didn't see that. Where's that? Oh, wow. I didn't see that. That's a nice little hit. Nice. At the back of the heel, there's a fire red little gel swoosh. That's kind of cool. Lace locks, underfoot, Undefeated branding, and sole pairs with visible fire red, big bubble, staying true to the shoe's original design. Oh, so fucking beautiful. Even the red pair. Wow, 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 wow. And then you got the neon green pair. And then you've got, that's the New York City, right? Neon green is New York City. And then what the other colorways? You got that, you got this. Fire red. Neon again. Huh. But according to Hypebeast, what did they say? Hypebeast said that the neon pair revitalizes one of the MX 95 iconic colorways. These pairs feature fire red. Notably, each city-specific MX 95 drop is individually numbered, with New York, Tokyo, Shanghai editions at 600, while Birmingham releases 2020 or 2200. Sorry. The raffle for Undefeated Air Max Neon is currently open, with pairs dropping on December 12th only at the Kenmare Street location. Okay, cool. Let's see if I can enter that raffle. Let's see if I can enter that raffle live, because that neon pair might have to get fucking copped. It's unlikely man will win. It's unlikely man will win, but you never fucking know. Let's see what I'll go on for this raffle. What's it saying? This launch is run fair. Sizing listed in men's. All sales are final. No cancellations. Returns. This product is exclusive for promotions. View launch details. Oh, it closed. Oh, I couldn't do it. Damn. Too late. Okay, cool. There is no raffle entry for the neons. Fucking G-A-Y. G-A-Y. Okay, cool. Raffle closed 7 hours ago. Okay, decent. Good to know. Good to fucking know. So yeah, 600 pairs of those. It's going to be fucking pandemonium when they drop though. It's going to be fucking pandemonium when they drop. Absolute monium. By the way, these are really nice too. These are really nice. These fucking hairy, suede, cow leather, fucking Nikes. I'm not going to lie. These are beautiful. I'd actually wear these. I'm not going to lie. They look kind of ugly, but man will actually... Oh yeah, they all sold out already. Shit. God damn, they all sold out. Kind of wild. But yeah, big up the Go Dome. But yeah, big up the Air Max 95 due to coming out very, very soon. Me like what I see so far. Me like what I see so far. Big up them. Big up Blood Clot them. Moving on, let's also talk a little bit about Denim Tears. Big up Denim Tears. Big up Denim Tears. They have just announced officially the launch of their denim. I recently spoke about it on the pod the other day, but we've got the official launch video for the denim. This is really cool, by the way. They did some fly posting around New York, it seems like, similar to what Supreme do and a few other brands. Good way to kind of get your shit out there, create some content, put some real life things out there in the city for people to watch, to look at, to kind of gawk at, take pictures next to, rip off, and whatever else they may do. And I really like this. I really like this idea. They essentially, instead of making random posters, which is paper, they actually made these posters out of denim, if I'm not mistaken. They're actually denim posters that have been, or denim material. I don't know how they essentially make the paper like that, but they've printed some of this, the fucking cotton reefs on there and placed these around New York. And I think I saw a kid ripping some of them off and making his own jeans or making a tote bag or something crazy like that. It was fucking funny. But this is a really cool way to kind of market and advertise what they're doing. This is really fucking cool. Big up Denim Tears, man. Doing a lot of good stuff lately. So yes, it's actual denim, made of actual denim. Don't know how they made that. It looks fucking, you can even see the fraying. Look, maybe it's actually just pieces of denim. I don't know why, or rectangles, but maybe it's paper infused denim. I don't know what it is, but you can actually see the little tears here. So it's actually made of denim. Fucking cool. Really cool concept that. And then we got some more pictures of the denim. It says here, Denim Tears, Denim Tears, Denim by Denim. Very Marc Jacobs, by the way. I like that. That kind of harkens back to maybe Tremaine's history of working at Marc Jacobs. Denim Tears, Denim by Denim Tears. Really fucking cool. It says available December 12th in their store only, on their store only, and in their store as well, which I really fucking love. You see a pair of denim here that this girl's wearing. Really fucking cool. You got the full set as well. So I wonder if this will help them produce more sets of the cotton reef stuff. Or I wonder if also this will mean the end of Levi's collaborations, which is kind of cool, right? You've learned all you need to learn from that collab. You want to keep it in-house. You want to keep the majority of the fucking profits and shit. And you also want to work on different types of washes, different types of fits and whatever else it may be. But I just love it in general. It's a really cool idea. And this will probably end up being a big part of their business. This will probably end up, I think there's a possibility that the Denim Tears denim by Denim Tears will end up rivaling the cotton sweatsuits with the cotton reef. It could get to that level. I honestly think it could get to that level because I think there are a ton of people who'd be more than willing. Like if Denim Tears by Denim Tears, if Denim Tears by Denim Tears, if Denim Tears, Denim by Denim Tears make a really good pair of jeans that aren't that heavily branded, don't have crazy, like maybe like this, right? That aren't covered in cotton reefs, that maybe white people feel a bit more comfortable wearing and shit, or just in general, and people are rave about the fit. There's a possibility that they could end up becoming a really big denim provider business in some regards. I think it's possible. It really fucking is. There's not a lot of brands out there doing good denim anyway. Look, I really like this combination too, with the plain jean jacket and then the cotton reef fucking jeans, the little buckle, the cotton reef buckle as well on there with the peace sign emblazoned in it. It's fucking cool. I like how he's promoting the brown badge as well, label. Again, similar, I guess, to what fucking Levi's do as well, but just so you have that association with the denim, with that little badge as well on the back there. Ooh, look at the wash of that denim suit. That looks beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The washes look really good in it. The sizing as well, the style. I'm not too sure what the style. I think this is one of the vintage. I think I've got one of these too. It usually doesn't have pockets. It sometimes fit like a shirt. Depends really. I kind of like that. I'm wondering they're probably going to do some crazy stuff during winter. Oh, look how hard this one looks. That looks so hard. That with that uncle with the shoes, with the light denim with the collar up. Jesus Christ, I love that. There's just a classic denim one too with a chambray western shirt type of style. I ain't mad at that one either. And that's a stylist too. I forgot his name. Legendary stylist. I forgot his name. Oh, stylist and designer as well. Forgot his name if I'm not mistaken. With the little hat on there. But yeah, this stuff looks fucking brilliant. Baggy cut and straight leg in selvage, dark wash, and light wash. So really easy ways to buy. Baggy cut, straight leg, and selvage, dark wash, or light wash. Yeah, the light wash one is me. Oof, looks so good, innit? This looks so fucking good. Yeah, he killed it. And the pictures as well. The pictures as well, everything about it looks fucking brilliant. There's a light wash denim, baggy cut, light wash straight into light, fucking heavy. Yeah, they killed it with these. I'm not gonna lie, they really fucking killed it with these. They really fucking killed it with these, and then that's it, right? One more.
Denim Tears Denim by Denim Tears.
Oh, I love that.
Denim Tears Denim.
Denim Tears Denim by Denim Tears. Denim Tears Denim by Denim.
Denim Tears Denim by Denim Tears.
Denim Tears Denim by Denim Tears. Denim Tears.
Denim Tears Denim by 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 Denim Tears.
So fucking cool, honestly. The difference it makes when you shut the fuck up, honestly, I wonder if Tremaine's noticed this, man. The leveling up that they've been doing since Tremaine stopped doing interviews, stopped talking about Supreme and them being fucking, racist and all this malarkey. The leveling up has been insane. That's what happens, isn't it? When you stop complaining, when you stop talking on the internet and just focus on your work, the work levels up.
So this is
in a nasty way, man. The stuff is so fucking hard now.
Edward Alexander Boucher, right? And he's the first black man to ever receive a PhD in the history, ever. And this makes me think of a story of someone I'm cool with, a friend of mine that worked here. He's a black guy. And I got real sick a couple years ago, and my doctor, one of my doctors is black, Leroy Lindsay. Amazing guy. And he comes by the store sometimes, and my friend that was here in the store met him, and he said after Dr. Lindsay left, he said, that's the first black doctor I've ever met. But just a reminder of the gap in what maybe some of us within our community know to what actually is. You know, and he should have learned about this doctor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even years before he ever met Dr. Lindsay, you know?
Yeah, and we're talking about...
So this is...
really cool.
Everything that we know.
Big up, what's his fucking face? From something, Random Identities, Stefano Pilati. Big up Stefano Pilati. Legendary stylist. I wonder if he's consulting on some of the stuff. Maybe it's why we're seeing the leveling up. I wonder if he's consulting or just a friend. I wonder. But the stuff looks really good now. I'm not going to lie. The stuff looks really fucking good. I've always enjoyed the ready-to-wear. I'm not going to lie. I think the cotton reef stuff gives them a bad name because the cotton reef is so popular and so ubiquitous. It's everywhere. But I think the ready-to-wear is slightly good. Obviously, the prices are a little bit crazy. I think maybe the prices are a little bit... but the cotton reef stuff is really fucking good, man. I mean, sorry, the ready-to-wear, not the cotton reef stuff.
Oh, is that now fashion is just like being aspirational,
Yeah.
you know, rich, luxury, no luxury. You know, like this is a simple gesture.
Yeah.
You know, very accessible.
Yes.
I mean, like anybody, you know, we insisted on that,
Yes.
you and I, you know, and make it like boom, like what it should be, or what it should have been forever. You know? Everything.
To me, it has to be beautiful and cool, and that's what I love about it. Is like, you know, I'm wearing it as a caret, and just the way it works perfectly.
Yeah, but
you know,
yeah,
and it's just like, and that's the magic to me. Is the message with the beauty of the garment, the colors and how it feels and how you can wear it, and you know, that's why I love doing this. To me, it has to.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty fucking cool, man. Big up Denim Tears. I think they're killing it. I think they're absolutely killing it. Big up Blood Clot Denim Tears. Big up Blood Clot Denim fucking Tears. You love to see it. You fucking love to see it. Moving on, actually, I wanted to talk about this article because I thought this was pretty fucking crazy. So, we complain a lot about stuff here in the UK, or a lot of people complain. I don't like to complain. I'm not really a moaner or a complainer. But a lot of people do like to complain about the state of clubbing and the way things are, blah-de-blah-de, blah, blah, blah. But when I see articles like this, it makes me thankful that I live where I live. Look at this headline, courtesy of The Guardian. Partygoers are pushing for clubs to offer free water. It costs as much as beer. I think this is a New York thing, if I'm not mistaken. This is a New York thing. But allegedly, in New York clubs, they charge for water. In the UK, we have a lot of problems, right? We have clubs that serve you £10 beers, £15 mixers, that charge you £5 to put your coat in the fucking lockers and shit. Crazy places, right? And they close really early too, so you have to get there right when it opens and really feel like you got your bang for your buck. But in most clubs, in all clubs in the UK, at the bar, it's usually around the bar area, there'll be either an entire, like a cooler, you know, you can just get water, or there'll be some sort of like big bottle that you can just kind of pour yourself water, you know? Or if you want, just ask the bartender, they'll just give you some tap water. But you don't have to pay for it. Obviously, you can pay for bottled. If you want some bottled water, if you want some fucking spring water or no sparkling water, you can pay for it. But you don't have to pay for tap water at all. And if you are really desperate, because in the UK our tap water is pretty decent, I've seen people going into the toilet and drinking water from the sink and shit, which I don't advise. But in general, the water in the UK, especially in main parts of Europe, is pretty decent enough to drink from the tap. But I can't imagine going out clubbing in America and they don't even give you free tap water. Like, that is so tight. That's so stingy. That's so crazy to me. But let's read the article anyway. It says as follows. New York venues aren't required to give out water, but nightlife workers say it could make the difference between a safe evening and an ER visit. Exactly. And I think you'd want to do that as a club owner, right? Because you'd want to make sure that people in there aren't going too crazy. No? You want to make sure people aren't going too fucking crazy. And being able to drink a little bit of water is really important for that sort of thing. So that's what it's saying. It says, when Brooklyn metal band Contract performs around New York, they expect a mosh pit, thrashing bodies, shoving, jumping along to the music. They also want to make sure their amped up, usually drunk crowd stays hydrated. Without water, a mosher might feel sick, faint, or pass out. You don't want anyone to get injured or hurt, frontman Pele Uriel says. Most of the spaces Uriel plays or visits have water stations. That's what we have in our clubs. I guess you call them water stations, where customers can easily fill up, but some do not. The worst offenders sell bottles of water at astronomical prices from $5 to £10. There have been times when I asked for water, but they charged a lot, so I went to the store next door to buy some. These venues are not breaking any rules. The city of New York, home to more than 25,000 bars in New York, Jesus Christ, and clubs and other nightlife venues, does not require them to supply free water for the patrons. While the majority do, and most bartenders are trained to look out for signs of inebriated customers, this most basic safety precaution is not accepted by all. Jesus. I wonder if Mamdani is going to change that. That's a really wild fucking rule. No free water makes absolutely no sense. You'd want to regulate people, especially myself, even if I'm ordering a drink. I'm actually paying for one, I'll get a glass of free water just to make sure I don't get super fucked up. Or I'm already fucked up to kind of sober me up a little bit. But it's really, really, really messed up. Brian Hackle, an EMT who works at a local festival and events, often finds himself treating partygoers suffering from heat stroke, brought on by high temperatures, close crowds, and dehydration. When things do happen, free water makes it not as bad for that person. It absolutely makes a difference to somebody getting an Uber and having to go to urgent care, as opposed to needing an ambulance or a hospital when IV drip can cost £700 to £800. Exactly. Wouldn't, like, in a country where you have to pay for your healthcare, not having any free water is fucking insane, to be fair. That person, all they needed was a glass of water, and instead now they're looking at a fucking $10,000 fucking hospital bill. Horrendous. What picture is that? Where's that from? Partygoers dance at Paragon. That's a Paragon. I always assumed what's it called? Bossa. I thought that was Bossa Nova, because I thought Bossa Nova has those tiled floors, but I guess that's another club called Paragon. The article continues. It says, in other locales, partygoers have. What is it there? Yeah, in other locales, partygoers have better luck. In San Francisco, any venue with a dance floor must provide free, cool drinking water. The same goes for businesses in Kentucky that serve alcohol. As of this year, Minnesota requires ticketed events with more than 1,000 attendees to make free water available and allow guests to bring in their own factory-sealed water bottles. Yeah, that's what you should allow people to do. Most clubs do allow that in the UK too. You can bring in your own little fucking flask and stuff to fill it up and shit. That's also kind of handy. That could also, like, if you don't want to give away free water, let me bring in my flask. After years of grumbling from tourists, the long-time party capital of the world, Ibiza, Spain, where some said places charge €10 for a water bottle. Jesus Christ. Clubs must offer free water on demand. The most hackle has seen water go for in New York is $12. $12. In November, he started a petition demanding the city put regulations in place requiring alcohol serving venues and large gatherings to provide free water stations. More than 500 people have signed on, and Hackle wants to work to non-harm reduction non-profit, which campaign to minimize the risk that comes with drug use, to spread the word further and hopefully catch the attention of elected officials. A long battle was fought in the UK to ensure all establishments selling liquor must provide free cold tap water to customers. It started in Manchester during the city's storied rave era, said Fiona Misha, chair of the criminology department at the University of Liverpool and the founder of the harm reduction organization In the Loop. That's interesting. That's an interesting bit of history. I didn't know that. I didn't know that the free water thing started because of the rave era. Because the rave era also has a lot of bad, sad history. I think, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the reason why we have these really tight opening hours is partly due to that rave era. I think the story goes that somebody threw a rave at like a farm or an estate of a person who was kind of associated with or linked to people in the Houses of Parliament or the government or whatever else it may be. That person complained. They were high up enough in society and status and shit that they were able to influence or start the dominoes falling for rule changes, and that has been in place since. That's why we have a lot of these really crazy licensing laws. So it's good to see that there's a positive aspect of the rave era and its history as well. The legendary Manchester club, the Hacienda, it says here, was the centre of Manchester, a scene known for its club-oriented musical acts such as Happy Mondays and New Order. But in 1989, the club dimmed when a 16-year-old girl collapsed and died in the club. It was the UK's first widely publicised ecstasy death, and experts wanted to know exactly how it happened. Oh, I can only imagine the amount of clubs that closed. Like, this country is so panicky. I can only imagine the amount of clubs that closed after that young girl died. RIP to her, but I can only imagine the damage that death did to the whole club scene. And it's always sad because it does always happen to like young people or people that not that much experience, you know, going to a rave in a hot place, not eating anything, and the first thing they put in their mouth is a fucking pill or something up their nose. You know, that's not really a smart thing to do. But hey, RIP. Despite scary headlines and slogans like "one pill can kill," ecstasy deaths are rare. But John Henry, a London toxicologist, made the connection between MDMA, which causes a rise in body temperature, and overheating while partying. Measham's colleague Russell Newcomb, a drug researcher, pushed for a greater awareness of the harm reduction. Half a pint an hour is recommended when taking MDMA to combat the sweltering effects of drug use, made worse by physical exertion. Really? They recommend you drink what? Oh, water. No, okay, I was about to say, oops, I don't know what happened there. Okay, I thought it says a beer. Did it say half a pint of beer or water? Oh, okay, water. But I thought it meant half a pint of beer. I was like, what? Are they recommending you drink beer every time you have an MDMA? I guess not. Sorry, it says the greatest harm reduction of the clubs, which look as simple as telling revelers to drink water. Half a pint an hour is recommended. Okay, cool. Half a pint of water, not half a pint of beer. To combat the sweltering effects of the drug use. In 1994, Newcomb published a manifesto of safer dancing, in which he urged venues to provide free cold water and at very least in the toilets, at the best by providing water in the bars. After that, Measham said it became good practice for Manchester clubs to do so. Though it was not legally required, venue owners knew the club kids were unlikely to order alcohol as it lessens the effects of MDMA. Some started up selling water to take the place of booze. I feel like even the other day when I went to Fold, actually, I do feel like I'm seeing more and more people in clubs now just drinking water. Not gonna lie. Or like these psycho Gen Z kids that go out and get on drugs but don't drink any alcohol. I feel like I'm seeing more of that. I wonder if people who actually work in clubs, who work in bars, can attest to that. That there's been a dip in the amount of alcohol sales. I just feel like it. I don't feel like I see people like drinking as much as before. I see people still doing drugs, but when it comes to drinking, they all just drink water or a soft drink, which is a bit psychotic in itself. But hey, it definitely became a point of contention, said Measham. She remembers Mixmag, an electronic music magazine, publishing a list of rave clubs of the symbol of water taps next to each of them that had a hydration station. It was known that you wanted to pick the place with the tap symbol. Measham and others continue to publish studies and reports on the importance of staying hydrated during the night out. It took more than 15 years for the UK to legally catch up with 2010 update of the country's liquor licensing laws. I say half jokingly that getting free drinking water to be a legal obligation in the UK. I say half jokingly that getting free drinking water to be a legal obligation in the UK licensed premises is my greatest achievement, and I want it written on my tombstone. Yeah, big up this lad, big up Misham, big up Misham. A scene from a place called Bossa Nova Civic Club. Yes, I remember, with the tiled floors. Still, the law is vague, and there are many ways venues can interpret it. Misham points to the London club fabric, which features an ice water bar as a good example. But I can think of other places that have one water bar as far as possible from where all the action is. There's always a massive queue, and they only have one tiny little cup of it. Yeah, exactly. Or the tap is really fucking booky. It's one of those fucking drip taps as well, which is awful. Some festivals in the UK won't provide tap water at the proper bar that serves alcohol, but they'll have the standpipe in the field that there's 3/4 of an hour walk from all the entertainment is. Security staff and yeah, so I wonder if they do that on purpose. So I wonder if some festivals just decide, hey, if we're gonna put the fucking water bar here, we're gonna do it, by force, and we're also gonna make sure that we put it in a place where people can't get to it easily. So it's going to make them be like, oh, fuck this, I'm just going to go back to the bar and either spend money on a bottle of water or get another drink. I wonder if some places do that on purpose, maliciously. I wonder. Security staff at the concert venues usually have bottled water in hand in case of health emergencies. In fact, it's not uncommon for artists to stop concerts when they see a fan who needs assistance. Beyonce handed out water in the Swedish crowd while performing in 2018. By the way, that's all very performative. That was all after the fucking Travis Scott thing, right? When all those kids died at fucking, what's that thing called? What's that fucking thing called again? I forgot. Richard Gallo, a 31-year-old publicist who lives in New York, goes out often and wonders why it's got to this point. If they have cases of water on hand in case anyone's going to have a reaction, that could be alleviated by having multiple water stations go around the venue. Harm reduction advocates argue that taking care of your patrons is such a good investment. People do not want to go somewhere they feel is stingy with water. In my experience, he says, doing the right thing is profitable, and cutting corners with the community safety can really kill an event or venue. Richard Hartnell, an organizer for the outreach of Dance Safe, and non-profit, best known for handing out free drug testing kits at raves and festivals in North America. If people know that you care and don't want anyone to potentially get brain damage from dancing for 5 hours in a sweaty box with no water, then they'll take your venue over a sketchy one. Exactly. That's actually a good point. That's actually a very, 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 very good point. Very, 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 very good point. You will probably trust a place where they look after you way more than the place that they don't look after you. That's actually interesting. I might read that later too, actually, by the way. Peter Keir, a New York DJ and community activist, recalls visiting Brooklyn Mirage, a since shuttered mega club popular among fans of electronic music. I would stand by the bar and see people order water, and I remember being baffled by the price. It costs almost as much as a beer. And I chatted with one of the staff, and they told me, oh yeah, this is more of a pale crowd, meaning they could have some money. They could have some money off of selling water. Okay, cool. If New York does amend its rules around free water, Keir hopes that the regulations are specific enough to prevent venues from easily flaunting them. Not only should there be stations, but they should be clearly illuminated. If there's an emergency, you want to know where the water is. If there's exit signs in case of fire, there should be a blue signs for the water, fire codes for the buildings, water codes for the bodies. Yeah, I agree. Hopefully this is implemented. Again, this seems kind of asinine and crazy to me, because I live in a country where all clubs, all bars give you free tap water. If they don't have a station, you can just ask a bartender and they'll give it to you. So the idea of going to a club and paying $10 for a bottle of water is fucking insane, in my personal opinion. But hey, what do I know? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nada. I don't know anything. I know very little. Little is what I know. Big up Stone Techno. I forgot to mention this, by the way. I forgot to mention this. So, Stone Techno Festival have actually unveiled their lineup for next year already. It feels like next year is like next year, right? We're still so far away. but it seems like they've already announced their lineup for 2026, and it looks fucking sick. I've always said I wanted to go. I'm definitely gonna make the fucking effort to go next year. I've always said I kind of want to go. So ever since I found out about it, I think a couple of years ago, it seems to get rave reviews. It's got a really cool lineup, and it's in a place that I've never been, which is a place called Essen in Germany. So it's not a Berlin place, somewhere a little bit different as well. But the lineup is really solid. The videos of the events and what people get up to and stuff, and the sets of the streams are really fucking fun. So I really want to check that out also. But let's see the venue, or let's see the lineup so far. This is courtesy of the Third Room. That's the kind of, I guess, the main group that kind of, you know, runs Stone Techno Festival, the umbrella company, I'm assuming. It says here the full lineup for Stone Techno Festival 2026 has landed. From the 10th to the 12th of July, more than 100 artists return to the exceptional UNESCO World Heritage Zollinger in Essen for 3 days of intensity, bliss, genuine connection. With the expansion of the festival site and new dedicated listening floor, the concept moves into a deeper layer of experience. I think that's new. I don't think it's usually 2 days, isn't it? Maybe it's, I don't know. Through the newly established curation series, we aim to build stronger bonds with the artists, audience, and communities, forming synergies through creativity and unique artistic vision. The idea is more than just about curating a floor and a record. It strives to leave a lasting impression on the collective memory. Stone Techno Festival 2026 represents our most personal vision of the contemporary electronic music, honoring our roots while expanding the musical spectrum. All ticket categories and shuttle bus tickets are now available through the link in bio. Daytime festival is already 60% sold out, and the night venues are 50% sold out. Okay, what's the lineup? Who do they have playing here on this fucking schizo fucking lineup list, this video? They have One Morning, Absolute A, Afra. Who do I know here? Amotech I know. Barker I know. Bashka I know. Core Super I like. Who else is on here? D-Dan I'm a big fan of. Who else is here? DJ Maria I like. DVS1. Ooh, DVS1 is playing. Fucking fire. F them in. I like. Who else is on here? Freddie K is on there. I would like to see him over there. That'll be good. Gabriel Kwarteng, love her. GGFM, love. Who else is here? Leah Uche, I love as well. She's really good. A lot of girls on the lineup, innit? A lot. I'm loving this. Magda's playing, the legend that is Magda performing, sick. Martin, I love. Nasha Rigo, I love. Ogazon is there. Okay, Williams, big up her. Who else we got here? Oscar Mulero, shit, he was sick last year. I think there's a video of it now. Philippa Pasho, PLO Man, Quelza, Renee Wise again. He keeps getting booked. I like that, to be fair. Satoshi Tomi, Sedef Adasi, Ski Mask, UK legend, he's performing. Lady Machine, she's great. Up Sammy, great as well. And Vladimir Ivanovic, yeah, he's from that legendary club in fucking wherever, I forgot where it was again, in Germany. And Yana Maste as well. That's a sick lineup, man. God damn, they went crazy on that lineup. That lineup is fucking wild. That is really fucking good. And then I think they got links, right? Let's see what they've got on here. They've got all the ticket information. Some Techno Festival, yep. Groove Magazine. What's this? Who's saying this? What's she saying?
The UNESCO World Heritage Site of Zollverein in Essen in Germany next July, and the lineup for 2026 is finally out today. I went to Stone for the first time this year and I completely fell in love with the place. So I've been waiting for this lineup. The festival will be entering a brand new phase for 2026, opening up new spaces physically, sonically and creatively. I'll discuss the changes in another video coming out in the next couple of days, so keep an eye out for that. But for now, let's take a look at the lineup.
I actually want to see, what did she make a review for this? What's this person's name? The Rules Raver. What's her name? Is that her? Oculate? Which one is this? Who are you? Who are you? Maybe you're Oculate. Are you Oculate? I want to see the review. Or maybe you're somebody. Maybe you're the Rules Raver. Okay, cool. That's her, right? Is there any post of like what happened in Stone Techno? Let's quickly look over. There's a lot of this, by the way. These like, you know, techno influencers, which I'm actually loving. They do good little reviews, give you an idea on Wagwan for the Wagwan. Do we have anything here? Can we tell? It's hard to browse content on here. Lost Village, cool. We got Lost Village thing there. What else has she got? There we go. Stone Techno Festival vlog. Good lady, good lady. You got part 1, part 2. There's no part. What's part 3? Okay, let's just do part 3. Let's just do part 4. Let's see what she has to say here.
Techno Festival vlogs. So this is what went down on the Saturday and Sunday. I was severely hungover on the Saturday morning, and Talal made me what I can only describe as the worst tequila and ginger beer I've ever had in my life. I honestly may as well have just next the tequila out of a bottle, and I think it was an attempt to try and make me feel better, and I didn't until I turned up and I saw the back-to-back set from Detron and Tasha. Oh my god, they genuinely made me feel better, like my hangover actually disappeared during this set because I loved it so much. Saturday was actually the day of the Mutual Rhythm takeover on the Sal's Lager stage, so here we went to go and see Kink back-to-back with Rare Dub, and this was such a fucking good set. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was.
Wow, that venue is really cool, man. Really fucking cool. That venue is really fucking cool. Very, very industrial, obviously, but that's a really cool looking venue.
You know those parts of the day at a festival where the days turn into night, the atmosphere just feels completely different, and the vibes are on top fucking form? It was one of them. This was such a good day. I think I pretty much spent all Saturday at the Sal's Lager stage, other than when we went to go and see Blasher and Allah at the Schwimbad. And then closing the Sal's Lager stage on the Saturday was Shadow back-to-back with Stodgy. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but that's what it looks like.
They go in with the production. There's a lot of money that goes into production. Those lights look fucking incredible. All red. That is amazing how they fucking transform that space. Amazing.
And then it was Sunday, which was really sad because it was the last day of the festival. And we started the day by going to watch Soft Crash at the Sal's Lager stage, which I didn't realise at the time, but it was actually Pablo Bozzi back-to-back with Face Fatale. And I didn't even know that that was a thing, that they did a back-to-back together.
Yeah, I think Soft Crash is their like duo. Is there like a band name, whatever? It's got. I think they put out a project this year, if I'm not mistaken.
I absolutely loved that set so much. That was another highlight for me over the weekend because the music they were playing, it reminded me of the stuff that gets played at Lost Village, and Pablo Bozzi is actually playing at Lost Village this year. So if it's anything like that set, then it's going to be so fucking good. After that, we went over to Schwimbad to go and...
Look at the view. This looks really cool. That venue. Hopefully that never gets knocked out. I don't think it will because it's a World Heritage site, right? I'm assuming. So it's probably going to be, you know, they're not going to knock it down. But hopefully that space never gets knocked down and gets turned into fucking luxury flats or, you know, horrible startup workplaces and shit. Co-working space. Because this is a really unique site. It looks so incredible. In the night as well, with all the lights on it. Really, really cool.
See Helena Hoth, and this was such a good set. It was so much better than the last time I saw her because I was a little bit disappointed previously, but yeah, she really made up for it this time. And then for the final set of the weekend, we went to go and see Ben Clock close the Eastbound stage. Sick. And yeah, what a closer. It was brilliant. And I've wanted to see him for years because he was like one of the first techno DJs I ever got into like nearly 10 years ago. And yeah, he did not disappoint. And he even closed his set with Brian Eno's An Ending Ascent, which is from 28 Days Later. And it set me off. I had a bit of a teary moment, I'm not going to lie, because I just thought, what a beautiful track to close such a great weekend with some of my favourite artists and some of my best friends in the world as well. It was one of the most incredible weekends of my life, and I cannot wait for next year. Roll on 2026.
Okay, big up her. That was a really good review. Big up her. What's her name? The Ruthless Raver, not Ruleless. The Ruthless Raver. Big up her. That was a really fucking good review. I really fucking enjoyed that. Big up the Ruthless review. Big up the Ruthless fucking view. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. That has been Jackson Zinger Show episode number 9. Was it? 981. 981. Pleasure to have your company as per usual. If it's your first time checking out the show, you know what to do. Smash like, hit subscribe, all that fucking good shit. Brandon show will be starting probably in about 3 hours, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So give me some time for that, and I'll be back again for more of that. But for now, subscribe, like, leave a comment. All that malarkey will be much appreciated. And yeah, for those of you listening via the podcast app, you will hear my tune of the day, which will be from young Eman. Young Eman, Pop Star in a Bitch will be playing underneath my voice for those of you who are listening to the audio side of the pod. Everybody else it'll fade to black. Everyone else it'll fade to black. Peace.